Good evening. I'm Dr. Ratna, and I have Dr. Preeti and Dr. Pallavi Chalasani with me. All of us are with Birthright Fertility. At present, we are from talking to you from Kondapur Hospital branch. We are here today to provide some clarity on pregnancy planning in the ongoing pandemic. Let's face it, these are all challenging times, isn't it? Socially, we are isolated from our families. Financially, we are having to cope with EMIs and pay cuts. And there is a lot of stress at the job front. And of course, health wise, we are a worried lot. We don't know when COVID is going to attack us at any point of time. Now, on one side, it seems like a good time to plan, isn't it? Couples are at home having a good time, watching their Netflix, cooking whatever they like, and they're available for each other all the time. But the question is this really an ideal time to plan pregnancy? March to May was a complete lockdown. Couples were on their own, the fertility clinics were shut. We had some happy lockdown pregnancies, as we call it. Most now recently we've heard about Anushka and Virat Kohli. So some have conceived happily without any problems at all. Now, what has happened recently? We have all come out from the lockdown. Fertility clinics have opened up. There's a lot of time on our hands. Most of us are working from home. There's a lot of time to spend online. We can browse the social media. We can go into different chat rooms. So what has happened? Conflicting opinions have been given, and there's a lot of uncertainty going on. What are these uncertainties? None of us actually can tell how long the pandemic is going to last, when the vaccine is going to be available, when we can get back to our normal life, and what effects this virus is going to have on the baby. So, we at Birthright thought we'll give you some clarity and our views on planning of pregnancy at this time. So, we'll start with the first question. Why is there so much confusion around such a natural process like planning pregnancy? Dr. Preeti, would you like to start?
Yeah, I would like to take this question up.
Yeah.
Can pregnancy be planned in COVID-19 times? So, we really understand that, the COVID-19 news is coming up too much nowadays, and there is a lot of uncertainty about when it's going to come down and is the vaccine going to be there, as Dr. Ratna told us when she gave a brief intro. So, understanding all that, the mothers to be and their family members would have a million questions whether to plan a pregnancy. Uh, if at all we plan a pregnancy, is it safe, to go ahead with early pregnancy issues and going to a hospital for antenatal care and having a delivery? Would this all be safe in this pandemic situation? Is what the question running in million people mind, and they would be thinking that okay, planning a pregnancy now is not a right thing at all. But definitely, we would say that we are here to clear this thought now. So pregnancy is definitely a personal choice, irrespective of the pandemic situation. So it is definitely to be taken a call by you and your partner. But just for the COVID virus, whether it has an impact on a pregnancy or not, we would like to clear some points, saying that see the COVID-19 is definitely a novel virus. That's why the name called novel coronavirus has come. It's a new virus. Nobody knows completely about the virus, what benefits, what problems it would, impose on a pregnant woman. But then, up till now, whatever research says, that's what we are going to emphasize in this particular webinar. So, in this, we say that there is no particular evidence or no particular case which has been recorded saying that a pregnant woman who has been affected with, COVID-19 is being very ill or seriously ill. Uh, so this is a major thing, and it is not said anywhere till now in the whole world that a COVID-19 patient who is pregnant has the virus has gone into the baby through the placenta. That's the other point. And no, there is no evidence saying that there would be a developmental problem or a developmental delay. And there is no record of increased miscarriages because of this coronavirus. So probably these are the important stuff which we have to say. And WHO has done a few studies which have stated that the virus has not yet been detected in the liquor, which liquor is nothing but water around the baby. So the active virus has not been, detected in the liquor, which we call that water around the baby, nor even the breast milk. So actually, these organizations actually promote to do proper breastfeeding for all the patients, even if the patient or the mother herself is COVID positive. So I think taking this scenario, and we really do not know when the situation is going to end. So you can take a call, and the precautions definitely would be dealt in the next question.
Right. So do you think we can safely plan? A couple comes to the clinic and says, can we plan a pregnancy during the pandemic times? Would you like to take the question?
Yeah. So I've already discussed the planning about the pregnancy, whether it is safe or not, and how safe it is. So probably we would say you precautions which you really have to take when you're undergoing or planning a pregnancy in this pandemic times. Especially what you have to really have is that moral support or moral mindset that you're going to, carry a pregnancy, or you're going to try for a pregnancy, and if you're pregnant, you will be morally strong enough to deal with it in this pandemic situation. That should be your first thinking about this pandemic. And then if at all you have emotional crisis, whether you have a family support, that's very, very important. That tender loving care is really, really important. So if you have all the support, and you can proceed to planning for a pregnancy with a little risk factor. And other things, in case if you have any medical problems like diabetes or thyroid issues, even before you planning a pregnancy, you're already on some medications, or let's say it's your second pregnancy, you're trying for a second kid, and you really want to hurry it up. Yes, and you had some issues prior in the first pregnancy, like let's say you had a long delivery or a cesarean section, or you had some complications like bleeding and all kind of things in your first pregnancy. I would always prefer you to have a proper video consultation with doctors, so that they would actually say that these complications would recur in your second pregnancy, and how far is a percentage, whether it will recur or not. And taking that into priority, you can take a call.
Okay. Dr. Preeti, would you like to add anything to say any more further points to this, whether we should plan in this COVID pandemic?
Yeah, a very good evening to all of you. Sorry for joining you all very late, because I had some technical issues. Though it may be a repetition, but I'll just go ahead with this. See, whether we can pregnancy in this COVID pandemic, the answer is not a simple yes or no, because it is a time for personal, social, financial, and emotional uncertainty. So couples should understand into what situation they are into, and then plan pregnancy accordingly. See, for some, this may be a very stressful situation. So they may have plans of, postponing their reproductive plans, or some perceive that this is an optimal time because they get a lot of time for togetherness, and they may want to, consider planning pregnancy. So becoming pregnant in this COVID time is absolutely a personal choice. But there are few aspects which they have to take into consideration before they decide whether they want to plan pregnancy or not. So they should thoroughly have an understanding of what are the implications of being pregnant, because it is not going to be in the same situation. They may have some constraints with regard to social isolation or lack of family support, some other personal constraints like financial or lack of access to medical care. So these are all the other aspects which they do have to consider before planning pregnancy. And the second aspect which they should be aware of is their medical history. If they're healthy young couples, absolutely fine, they can go well. I mean, they can go very well and plan pregnancy. But in case they have got some medical problems, long standing medical comorbidities or something, it is best advised for them to wait for a while. And the third aspect is that age is a very, very important factor, because if a woman, say, is in her late 30s, so she may well take a decision of planning her pregnancy straight away because time is of the essence. But if a woman is young, say in her early 20s or late 20s, she still has some time to wait for this, to get more clarity on this, and then she can plan pregnancy. The other aspect is, in what environment the couples are in. It may be at home or it may be at, in the job. If they're exposed to, a high risk environment wherein contracting this infection is high, then these couples, I think they should put off planning pregnancy, or they should try to, make some changes in the environment so they are safe from contracting this infection. So overall, planning pregnancy is a very, very personal choice. When it comes to medical point of view, as Dr. Pallavi said, now there is so much of evidence which says that pregnancy, overall pregnancy is safe, provided they take all the precautionary measures through 9 months, like social distancing, wearing masks, social isolation. All these have to be strictly followed to make the pregnancy safe. Childbearing age is definitely, that age is definitely at low risk. So, they're not at a higher risk, and even pregnant women and non-pregnant women are at the same risk. So they can very well plan pregnancy, and the impact of COVID on pregnancy, like increased rates of miscarriages or increased rates of preterms or problems with the baby's growth and development, so far the studies have said that there have not been any. And even transmission of COVID from mother to the child, it's very rare. So overall, planning pregnancy is safe, but they have to take the necessary precautions.
Right. Dr. Pallavi and Preeti, we are getting questions. I'd like you to answer them specifically. This is from Priyanka. I have tested positive, so when can I go for IVF if I want to try? Dr. Preeti?
See, absolutely. Initially, when the COVID pandemic started, say in March and April, up to about May, we were all in that, confusion whether we should start fertility treatments or no. But now, as we moved on from June onwards, we have opened up, wherein we are taking all the necessary precautions in the clinic as well as in the lab, wherein we are, to reduce the risk of COVID. So fertility treatments, you definitely can go ahead. But just in case if you are at a higher risk, or say, postponing your IVF treatment may reduce your fertility chances, like if you have less number of eggs or poor ovarian reserve, in that situation, we can always do the oocyte retrieval and then freeze and then transfer them at a later date.
Right. Pallavi, this is a question for you. My AMH is 0.95. Should I wait or go for IVF? Would you like to take that question?
If our age is also more and AMH, it looks like it's a little of decreased ovarian reserve type things, which we say that the egg count is decreased. That's what we have to say. And in this point of time, when we have a decreased egg count, I think you have to meet the fertility specialist and take a call about your IVF. We would definitely suggest you to go ahead with IVF with that kind of AMH.
Right. So here I'd like to add a few things. Most of the fertility clinics have made safety precautions paramount. Our staff, the hospital, the andrology, everything has been, let us say, virus proofed. Everyone is using sanitizers, face shields, face masks, right from the reception to the embryologist. So rest assured, you can come, and it's a COVID-free environment you're being provided. But at the same time, at your end, you should be responsibly using your mask and be socially isolated so that you don't contract the virus during the treatment. Because once you start the stimulation and midway, if you contract the virus, if everything is going to, fall apart. So it's a responsible decision that we take and that you take, and so we can make the treatment successful together. Dr. Preeti, this is for you. I'm 29, been trying for pregnancy since a year, and I'm in the middle of treatment. Now moving forward to IVF from IUI. Can I go ahead and have a can I go ahead with my treatment? And as doctor is also suspecting an unknown male factor.
Absolutely. I just mentioned, as I mentioned in my last question, you can proceed with IVF treatments because we are taking utmost precautions to reduce the risk of COVID transmission. So, and provided you also take all the necessary precautions to reduce the risk, you can absolutely go ahead with the treatments.
Right. So Dr. Pallavi, you can take this. I'm for second pregnancy. Is this the right time to go for IUI? My age is 35 and my first pregnancy was also with IUI.
Yeah, just because it's a second pregnancy, and in case if you're living in non-cantonment area, like a little less people are infected, and if everything is okay in that area, just because it's a second pregnancy, you can still go ahead with an IUI, because we are taking absolute precautions to do the needful even for IUI samples. And going ahead with IUI is definitely an yes, in case if it's done in good socializing distance is maintained from your side, and wearing a mask, and using proper sanitization, having a proper personal hygiene from your side, yes, definitely we can go ahead with IUI treatment.
Right. So this is a previous question. Dr. Preeti, you can take it. Do you have any
Yes.
plans to cut short your protocols just to take direct steps towards IVF considering this situation?
See, IVF protocols have definitely been modified according to the COVID situation, wherein we have modified them in such a way that the appointments are very staggered, and we have tried to reduce the number of visits to the hospital as well. And even the injections are, are spaced, the appointments are spaced at least an hour difference. So we are using only the short protocols, wherein it's a very quick, the stimulation is done in about 8 to 9 days, but at the same time we are not compromising on outcomes. So those are modified file as well. And when it comes to the the pickup, we're going ahead with spinal anesthesia so that the risk is reduced. There's not much spread of aerosols, and the procedures are very quick. And if there is any doubt that there can be a COVID transmission, then we are retrieving the eggs on a day 3. We are freezing the embryos, and we are reserving the transfers to a later date.
Right. My wife is 29 and I am 31. We are planning for a later time. Can we freeze our eggs and sperms, and how long they can be preserved for? Roughly how much is the cost? Pallavi, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, in case if you're interested in freezing the embryos, yes, we can do the pickup in utmost care, and then we can freeze the embryos, and you can plan for a pregnancy later time as well.
Right. What I would like to add to all the couples who are contemplating a pregnancy now is, before you think of freezing and before you have long-term plans, what is important is to get a fertility evaluation. That is the reproductive health normal? How are their eggs and how are the sperms? See, always lady's age will not corresponding to her ovarian age. For example, let me simply put it. A lady who is 35 may still have eggs which are as good as a 28-year-old's, and vice versa. A 28-year-old may have eggs which look like a 35-year-old's. So what is important, and I would like to stress, is you need to have a fertility assessment if you want to delay pregnancy. Same with the gents. You need to have a sperm count if you want to delay pregnancy for a year or two. So rather than taking a decision about freezing, what is most important is any couples who are planning or who have started to plan and who have stopped due to fear of the COVID virus, do step into your fertility clinic and have a complete fertility assessment so that we can take a responsible decision. Yeah. So we'll take the next question. I'm in the middle. If in the middle of treatment we have a COVID attack, what is the impact on the baby and the mother? Dr. Preeti, would you like to take that?
See, having a COVID impact in middle of the treatments, again, it depends upon what kind of treatments you are through. I mean, if you're in middle of an IUI cycle and if you have tested COVID positive, so definitely we will want to abandon the cycle if it's an IUI cycle. But again, if you are in midst of a IVF cycle, then definitely we will proceed with the cycle, take the utmost precautions, and then do the egg retrieval. And once you're through this the quarantine period of 14 days and all that, we can obviously go for the transfer. And coming to your second question of how will it impact the mother, the pregnancy and the mother. So as I told you, so far the studies have shown that there is not there's no impact on the baby. I mean, the vertical transmission is very rare, and there is no impact on the growth and development of the baby. The risk of miscarriage and preterms is also not seen. And to do with whether you, as a pregnant woman, will you be more prone to have, contract this infection? You are at the same risk as a non-pregnant woman.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Pallavi, I'm combining two questions for you. Here it says, I have a polyp and it's a 1 centimeter uterine polyp. Should I get it surgically removed at this point of time, or should I try naturally? And the similar question is, I have a cyst of 5.6 into 5.8 centimeters, and can I get the cyst treated at this time?
It again depends on whether the polyp is creating any problem like increased bleeding, or you have severe abdominal pain, or if it is coming ahead, I mean, in between your infertility treatments. Let's say if there is a polyp and then you're 35 years, you have to proceed for your IVF cycles and the polyp has to be removed, or you have too much of bleeding, yes, probably we can proceed by doing a COVID test, and in case if it's negative, we can proceed for your hysteroscopic polypectomy or polyp removal. And it is same with the cyst also. It depends especially on the symptoms and why the doctor has taken a decision at this point of time to remove the cyst. In case if it is really to be removed because of the symptoms, or because to proceed for an IVF case because of the other scenarios or other factors, like you have a decreased egg count, or because of the age factor, or because of the male factor, whatever the issue might be, yes, we can proceed doing a very safe surgery in a very safe zone.
Yeah, so the air is very clear on that. In case you need surgery, be it a polypectomy or an ovarian cystectomy, it's very simple. You have a COVID test, go to a good hospital that is COVID free, and get the surgery done so that you can plan your pregnancy. Now, more questions are coming about IVF. We have an entire webinar planned the next time about treatments, IVF treatments during the COVID time. So we'll go through with some of our own questions. Dr. Pallavi, what are the precautions you would advise a couple to take if they are planning for pregnancy?
As I already mentioned, definitely a couple who is trying to conceive, they have to be emotionally prepared that they're planning for a pregnancy, and they have to have an emotional support in case if they are lagging on the emotional support. And it should be a stress-free zone. And in case if you have any medical problems, or if you have any prior issues with your prior pregnancy, I would definitely like you to take a video consultation with your doctor so that you are clear about whether these problems are going to recur in other coming up pregnancy. And the other issues which you have to definitely look into is start off with your folic acid. In case you have any deficiency in vitamin D, you can start off with your vitamin D supplementation as well. Diet definitely has to be looked into. Moderate exercise is one which we definitely have to look into at this particular pandemic, because everybody is at home, and we tend to have a lot of time and try cooking new recipes and having a lot of junk food at home. And so just because of cooking makes it interesting. So make sure that you eat a healthy diet and a balanced diet at this point of time. Do definitely a moderate exercise at home in whichever way you are interested in. You can just do a gardening if you have interest in, just to make yourself stress free and decrease your workload and get out of that work stress. So these are the major precautions which we would definitely suggest you to about the pregnancy. And in case you are already pregnant, or you're trying to get pregnant, avoid going too much outside, avoid going to a crowded area, maintain your social distancing, maintain the personal hygiene. This would definitely help you to have a better pregnancy.
Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Pallavi. So basically, she's saying that take all the general precautions like taking folic acid, as well as be relaxed and stress-free and make it fun. So, Dr. Preeti, I want you to answer this important question. Is there really anybody who should avoid pregnancy planning in the pandemic times?
Yes, definitely. There is a set of couples who have to, consider putting off pregnancy plan for a while. If they're healthy enough, yes, absolutely, they can go forward. But if the woman has got some other comorbidities, like she's already a known diabetic or a hypertensive, or she's having some long-term health problems like related to cardiac or kidney diseases, or if she's got some respiratory problems like asthma, and also if she's asthmatic. So these women are definitely advised not to plan pregnancy in this COVID pandemic, because as such, pregnant women are into the vulnerable group, just like elderly people and the young children. So with comorbidities, planning pregnancy can be postponed. And not only that, women who are into as the frontline COVID workers, or who are at high risk of getting who are at high risk of COVID, they also should consider postponing their pregnancy, planning pregnancy.
Right. Does Dr. Preeti, do you want to take this? Does COVID really affect male or female fertility?
Yes, this is a very good question. See, so far the studies have shown that COVID has absolutely no impact on the male or female fertility per se, but it is the illness which can cause problem to the chances of conception. Because if they've gone through fever, high grade fevers, so these illnesses definitely can reduce the follicular, I mean, the spermatogenesis or the quality of the eggs, the folliculogenesis. So there can be a temporary decline in the fertility for male and female if they have gone through COVID symptoms. But again, in about 2 months' time after recovering from COVID, the normalcy is returned. So they can wait for 2 months and then plan for pregnancy. So the effect of COVID on male and female fertility is only temporary, and it has got no long-term effects.
So that's very reassuring to know. If a couple has, either of them has tested positive, you would ask them to wait for 8 weeks and then start planning, maybe after a visit to their fertility specialist to just check out that everything is normal.
Yeah, because
Thank
COVID
you.
would have
Dr.
impacted their
Pallavi,
general.
yeah. Dr. Pallavi, would you like to take this? I have PCOD and I conceived my first kid with IUI and I'm currently infected with COVID. Can I plan the second kid after I recover?
Yeah. COVID takes a few days or few months just to quarantine and the illness to come down. Just because it's a second kid, I would definitely say not to be in a real hurry. Just take your time, come out of the illness and come out of your weakness, and then be completely back to your normal state, and then probably you can plan for your second kid with an IUI. And especially in polycystic ovarian syndrome or PCOS, we can postpone, because we know that the egg number and the egg number is good enough, so that postponing down the lane 2-3 months down the lane is not going to really affect. But in another scenario, if the egg count is really less, and then if it is the same situation, yes, then probably there is a point in hurrying up the pregnancy. So taking 2 points into consideration, that's the polycystic ovaries, and taking it as a second kid, probably 2 months down the lane after the quarantine, after you are completely back to normal, that would be the right time to go ahead with pregnancy.
Right. Dr. Preeti, we have this very interesting question for you. Can fertility assessment be done at home? To what extent can we, let's say by video consultations, reassure a couple that they are all okay?
Yeah, this is a very good question, because now that we have constraints in visiting to hospitals, so there may be a lot of anxious couples who will want to understand if they can postpone their pregnancy, or is it the time that they have to start planning pregnancy straight away. So young couples, when I say young, that is women, less than 35 years of age, can try for about a 1 year's time. But in case if the woman is more than 35, then postponing pregnancy may not be the right thing. So when we do a fertility assessment, there are 4 factors which we take into consideration. The first is that if she is cycling regularly or not. If she's cycling about 28 to 30 days, once in 28, 30 days is absolutely normal. So which is telling us that the whole process of egg growth and ovulation is all good. So if they try during the fertile period, the chances are good. But in case if she's got short cycles, say 20 to 25 days, once in 20, 25 days she's cycling, then obviously this is an indication that her egg reserve is going down. So they are the ones who will need to seek medical care or a fertility help. So the second factor is about the uterus. In case if they've got regular cycles and the flow is also normal, and she's not got any excess bleeding or any kind of pain abdomen. So this is a kind of a thing wherein we can rule out if there are any fibroids or if there's any endometriosis just with symptoms wise. And then third, we talk about the sperm parameters. If they're having normal intercourse and they have no issues at the time of intercourse, then unlikely that they have any issues with the sperm parameters. But we do have a percentage of men wherein their intercourse is not a problem, but still their sperm parameters are compromised. So semen parameters have to be definitely be checked in a hospital. At home it is not possible. So fertility assessment wise, you can always think of these three factors. That is the age factor, that is the first one. Second, if your cycles are regular or not regular is the second factor. And how your cycles are, I mean how the bleeding pattern is, or if you have excess bleeding, this is another parameter which you can consider when you're doing a self assessment at home.
So that was a very nice answer. So what we can and what we are offering now is we are offering home semen collection, so that you can just collect the samples at your home and bring them in for an assessment. That way you can have a semen analysis done. But ovulation, whether you're ovulating or not, there are strips called I know kits available in any medical shop. You can do this ovulation test from day 10 onwards, and it will pinpoint to you. It's just like a pregnancy test. You put in 2 drops of urine and you get 2 lines during the fertile period. You start from day 10 and you will know when and how you're ovulating. So sperms and eggs can be ovulation can be assessed, but for a tubal assessment, I'm afraid you'll have to come into the hospital. Now, this question, I've had couple of IUIs, and can IVF be carried out straight away, or can IVF be done based on the pre-lockdown reports? I'll take this question. Yeah, fertility is a very dynamic thing. So if the reports are, let's say, within 3 months, we can take you up for an IVF directly. But if they're longer than 6 months, I'm afraid we'll have to reassess fertility and then only take you up for IVF. But assessment can be done in one cycle. So based on your previous reports and your current scan, 1 month should be enough to take you on for the IVF in the next cycle. Now, this is a good question.
I would like to add on
IVF,
this.
yeah.
Assessment for IVF doesn't take too many tests. It's just one-stop single scan, wherein we need to understand, how to plan the protocol, and it's a mock catheter trial which we'll have to. So just performing one scan and a couple of blood tests is good enough for us to proceed with the IVF.
Right. So now there is an interesting question here. I'm putting on weight since March. I'm trying to plan a pregnancy, and I'm feeling depressed and isolated because of the pandemic and because of not having cycles. What advice can you give, Dr. Pallavi? She's at home, she's planning a pregnancy, she's putting on weight, she's feeling depressed and isolated, and she's also not had her period since April.
So first thing is putting on weight and the anxiety and depression. I think all of us are going through the same pandemic situation, and we are going through the same tougher times. So there's no point in getting too depressed and about the things which are happening around you. Just make sure that in case if you are undergoing so much of stress, make sure that you call up some health support like your doctors, and then seek some help from them. And because of lockdown and there is no too much exercise, and we have to stay at home and do our home work, we are putting on weight. So we would definitely suggest you to do little exercises wherein have a check on your diet, eat healthy, so you can cut down on a lot of sugars or the tin food, unsaturated fats, or the meat and all that. You can eat a lot of healthy food like a bowl of vegetables and bowl of fruits instead of having a sweet when you're getting bored. And exercise, it doesn't mean that you have to hit a gym or you have to go to a Zumba class. You can do that same thing at home, making it more funny, more of fun. So you can just on your YouTube and play it on a big screen and do the same Zumba at home. And you can as well opt for a small sort of exercises like take a skipping rope and start doing your skipping. That would also do a good job. Now there is a lot of trend going on the internet that the grow things which you eat is the concept which is going on the social media. So probably that would be a great stress buster. Do a little gardening and so that you can grow your own vegetables, so you are relieved out of your stress and you come out and you do stuff for yourself, and then you can also plan pregnancy by doing all this because you are relieved out of stress. And the other question is, it says that from April, I think there is no period or irregular cycles have come in for this patient. So for this patient, probably for this person, probably you have to check whether you had the previously a regular cycle history prior to April, prior to lockdown. So it might be just because of increased weight. If you had a little trigger for PCOS or polycystic ovaries would have increased, and then the irregular cycles would have come up. So you can take a doctor's consultation by a video call and just take some pills and get your period first. And for pregnancy, after you get your period, you can visit your fertility consultants to further proceed for the treatments.
Right. Dr. Preeti, she says she's feeling isolated and depressed. Would you like to suggest anything for that?
Yeah, I mean, see, we have seen that there is an increase in mood and anxiety disorders with the pandemic itself. And at the same time, the anxiety surrounding planning pregnancy, or if they're in midst of planning pregnancy, and if the postponing pregnancy may be adding to their depression. So we have to identify if there are any signs of depression. Usually the signs which we can pick up, or her family members or her husband can pick up, is if she's having sleepless nights, lack of interest in whatever she's doing, lack of sleep, or being very socially disconnected. So if anybody is facing these kind of issues, the best advice is to seek medical help. They can consult a fertility health specialist and also see a psychiatrist or a psychologist to address these issues.
Right. And most of the psychiatrists are, I think, and the counselors are also available for video chats. So probably they can take advantage of that. Preeti, this is also for you. Mrs. Gargi asks, if I go for an IVF this time, can I do the injections at home?
Uh, I'm afraid it is not possible because the injections are given on a daily basis, wherein we tend to do a scan every day, and based on the scan findings, sometimes we may have to increase or decrease the dosage of the injections based on the follicular growth. So, and usually these are all the multi-dose vials which we get. So it is advisable to take the injections in the hospital itself. But even walking into hospital is safe because
Safe
we have kind
now,
of
yeah.
provided a a COVID-free environment wherein there is a very the social distancing and all the other measures are in place. So it is quite safe to walk into the hospital for injections every day, and it's just about 8 to 9 days wherein the injections are administered.
Right. So, Pallavi, would you like to take the question? We were in our second IUI cycle in March and have been waiting since then to proceed. We are out of Hyderabad. Can we continue in any birthright centers in Vijayawada? Please suggest your advice.
Yeah, they say that it is her last IUI was in March, so it's
Yeah.
almost like 5 months down the lane. So I think it's better they meet the fertility consultant at Vijayawada and see the situation right now in what scenario she is, and make sure that the investigations are last 6 months, and make sure that things were the same like prior. And then in case
Yeah.
if it was to a treatment of IUI, yes, they would definitely proceed doing an IUI. In case if it's something else, definitely they would explain you what best they can do. Yes, you can go for a treatment in Vijayawada.
Preeti, this is for you. What are your ideas on FET? Is it safe to go with FED in the pandemic situation?
Absolutely. I mean, FETs are the procedures we actually started off to do from the beginning of starting our services. The fresh cycles are the ones we started a bit late actually. The reason being that we know that the embryos have been very safe, and we are definitely checking for COVID test before we take them on for these elective procedures. Because these are all elective procedures, we can check on the COVID test only if it is negative. We are proceeding with the frozen embryo transfers, and frozen embryo transfers actually do not require that many number of visits. At least just about 3 visits is good enough for us to complete the whole embryo transfer procedure. And embryo transfer is also a very quick procedure, which is just about 5-minute procedure, and then they're here for about an hour or so after the procedure and go back home. So looking at the way the procedure is, the risk of COVID is very, very minimal. And anyway, we are checking for COVID. So it is very safe to go ahead for FET procedures in this COVID pandemic.
Right. Thank you. Dr. Pallavi, you can take this. I have been affected with COVID-19 and I am in quarantine. So after 15 days of isolation, can we plan a child?
If you have already been tested as COVID positive and you're already in isolation for last 15 days, if I'm not wrong. So 15 days quarantine is just not enough for COVID. I think 28 days would be the right thing to do, and make sure that your partner is also tested for COVID and he doesn't have it. And in case if your partner doesn't have any COVID symptoms, or if he's not tested positive, and then after 28 days of quarantine, if everything comes back to normal, you don't have any illness, which COVID generally gives, the post-COVID illness, yes, probably you can go ahead planning for a pregnancy.
Right. Probably I'll take this question from Swarna. She starts off by thanking us for the webinar. 33 years old and weighing 96 kgs. I want to plan for the second kid and I have PCOS. I took treatment with Dr. Ratna. Suggest me. Okay, Swarna, glad you joined. This is a right time to plan, but definitely not with the 96 kg weight. You could have a online dietetic consultation, bring your weight down to at least 88 kilos, and then definitely we can plan your pregnancy. Right. Preeti, this one is for you. My wife has been taking 4 Gonalef injections, and after that, everything was discontinued due to the pandemic. When can I visit you?
Gonalef injections, was it for an IUI or for an IVF?
Yes.
Because if it was for an IVF, you wouldn't have.
She was with she was with me, and after 4 injections, it was discontinued due to the lockdown.
Because of the lockdown. Yes. So we can start from the very next cycle. You can come down and then we can have a relook at on your second day of the cycle, look at how the follicles are, and then go ahead with the treatments from where we have left.
Right. Dr. Pallavi, you can take this. I am 29. Could you please clarify how much time it takes to conceive for a normal, healthy human being? Again, a very good question. Pallavi, please take it on.
Yeah. So I heard that it is you're 29-year-old and you're very healthy, but still there are a lot of things which we have to look into, like the cycles again for you, and if the cycles are on a regular basis, and then if you're just 29, if you're recently married, probably you can try for pregnancy at home. And in case if you have any problems and having cycles on a regular basis, and if you're overweight, probably you can stick to your lifestyle modifications like your diet and exercise. And in case after having tried for a couple of months, even though you're not conceiving, you can seek our help, come down to the clinic, so that we have to evaluate you as a couple to see that if everything is normal, like your ovaries, your tubes, and the uterus. And for the male partner, we have to see the semen analysis to see if completely the semen parameters are good enough to continue for a pregnancy. If everything is good enough, yes, probably you can try for pregnancy.
Right. So if you're 21 and convinced if you're 29 and you're convinced you're healthy, probably on your own you can try for 3 to 6 months, because we have some statistics here that if 100 couples try for pregnancy, approximately 20% will conceive each month. So let us say by 6 months, 60 to 80% should have conceived on their own. So a trial period of 3 to 6 months, if everything is okay in the absence of irregular periods and all, after that it's better to see a doctor. Preeti, this is for you. Can my frozen embryos be transferred from birthright at Delhi? No, from birthright Hyderabad to Delhi, as I'm not in Hyderabad right now, but want to continue with my treatment. Akanksha.
That is a very difficult thing to do, because it is important that we maintain these embryos at the particular temperatures, that is in liquid nitrogen tanks. So it is very difficult to transport the embryos from Hyderabad to Delhi with long, such distances. So if it is within the city, yes, we don't see a problem, because it is just for a very short duration. In the process of shifting these embryos, damaging the embryos is quite often seen. So I would advise not to transfer the embryos from Hyderabad to Delhi. Such long distances, transport is best to be avoided.
Right. This is an interesting question. I have taken HCQ for 8 weeks. Can we initiate planning of pregnancy? Right.
Yes, initially I
HCQ.
think HCQ was advised as a prophylactic for
Yes.
COVID, but
Yes.
now we have stopped prescribing HCQs, so you can plan your pregnancy straight away, despite you taking HCQ.
Right. Now, I'm 28 and I'm weighing 82 kilos and I have PCOS. What is the ideal weight to go for IVF? Dr. Pallavi?
88 kilos with a good height and a good BMI would definitely be a good sign to go ahead in case if you have PCOS. But if a person is shorter and the BMI is more, I would definitely say more than weight. I would definitely say that BMI makes more sense to give an answer for this. So if a BMI is in a normal BMI, then yes, probably for PCOS we have to give little treatments and then she can go ahead for pregnancy. And in case if the BMI is overweight and over BMI, obese state of BMI is there, we would definitely like her to do lifestyle modifications, like her diet should be altered and she can seek a dietitian's advice to cut down on her diet and do a lot of exercise, and then make her BMI to a normal state and then go ahead with PCOS treatment would the best thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, if you are overweight, then 10% of weight reduction should be good. So roughly around 8 kilos of your weight loss might help to have a better response to the hormonal injections or hormonal medications.
So we recommend a weight loss of 1 kg per week and a total of 10%. So 8 kgs over 8 to 10 weeks should be ideal before you start treatment. Dr. Preeti, this is for you. I'm 29 and I've had 2 laparoscopies in the last 2 years. My AMH is now 0.9. Why is my AMH low and should I go for IVF?
So, the reason for laparoscopies again is very important. If twice having a laparoscopy, it must have been for endometriosis, because we always see that there is recurrence with endometriosis, and usually multiple laparoscopies are done to remove the cyst. AMH of 0.9 is a straight indication to go ahead with an IVF.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Pallavi, this is for you. I am 31 years old, recently terminated my pregnancy because there was an abnormality. I'm on epileptic medication. What care do I need to take before and after I conceive?
Conception, there are two things which we have to really look into. One is that epileptic care, whether she's on the maintenance dose or whether she's on an active treatment. In case if she's on an active treatment, we would definitely like to finish the active treatment for epilepsy and then put her on a maintenance dose and then proceed for her pregnancy. If she's already on a maintenance dose, she can right away go ahead with pregnancy treatments or trying out to get pregnant. But once she's pregnant, because she already had an abnormal baby, we need to find out why she had an abnormal baby before we jump into making her pregnant. Whether she has a consanguineous marriage or whether there is a particular thing which we have picked up in her previous pregnancy so that it doesn't recur. In case if she is planning for pregnancy, yes, she can go ahead.
And something more
Right.
to add, we also have to review on what kind of medications she's on for epilepsy, because there are drugs which are not safe to be used while planning or in pregnancy.
Right.
So those medications have to be looked into, and we should see that she's on medications which are safe in pregnancy. And also usually single drug is advised for epilepsy when if they're planning for pregnancy. So she'll definitely need a review with her neurologist and take it from there.
Absolutely. Preeti, I'd like you to answer this. On a daily basis, we are getting to hear lots of depressing news, and near and dear are getting affected and passing away as well. How much of this COVID related anxiety and stress is going to affect the fertility of men and women?
Anxiety has definitely affected male and female fertility, because their sexual behavior has changed. Because we see that this stress has taken over them so much that there is a reduced sexual activity, and so the fertility definitely is reduced. And not only that, the overall stresses can affect the folliculogenesis and the spermatogenesis as well, the quality of oocytes and the quality of the sperm as well. So it is better to plan pregnancy once this COVID pandemic is done with.
Right. I have a lot more questions here, running short of time. So what I'd like to tell the viewers is we are planning to come out with a second webinar probably in 2 weeks time, when all of you can send in your questions, and we will keep it mostly related to details of IUI and IVF treatments during the times of the pandemic. Meanwhile, those of you who have our emails, or you can access us with video consultations, but I can assure you that Kondapur and Hydernagar and road number 2 Banjara are COVID-free hospitals. Our COVID patients are admitted exclusively into road number 10. And as our panelists mentioned, the appointments are staggered. There is no crowding at any point of time, either for scans or for injections. And the staff from the receptionist to all of us are wearing double masks and shields, and we are totally protected. And we will protect your health from COVID as well. So do plan your fertility treatments properly. If you don't want to come to the hospital, we have the link for video consultations, and you can email us also with all your doubts, and do attend the next webinar, the date of which will be conveyed to you. Any closing comments, Pallavi and Preeti?
Thank you, Dr. Ratna. It has been a very, very interactive session.
Pallavi?
Thank you. Thank you. It's really a nice session. Hope we have made a point clear that all the Rainbow hospitals except one Rainbow hospital in Banjara is COVID free.
Right. So all of you stay safe. As everyone says now, wear your mask properly, from the top of the nose to the below your chin. Wash your hands and maintain social distance from each other. Do not go out unless it's absolutely needed. Stay safe, and see you all in the next webinar. Thank you very much for a successful session. Bye-bye.